So let's come to a comfortable seat. And tonight I wanted to use for the topic, I wanted to just talk about a sense of gratitude that we can have in our life. You know, it's the big, especially the United States, we have this big holiday about Thanksgiving, and whatever other things might surround that, the actual concept of giving thanks for what we have is a very deep spiritual practice. It's said that when we move into a sense of gratitude, no matter what else might be going on in our lives, that we can't have other emotions or other feelings. So like if we're feeling really down or depressed and we just need something to help us to move through that, at least even for a moment, to give us some relief. If we sit with a deep sense of gratitude in our heart and we just enumerate all the things that we're grateful for, that in that sense, we are fully present to that energy, and gratitude is said to be a heart essence. So I thought tonight, for lots of reasons right now in our life, because it seems so chaotic with everything that's going on, and then we're moving into winter, so there's a lot of darkness, and just being able to step back and have a sense of gratitude. So go ahead and close your eyes if you haven't already. Or if closing your eyes is uncomfortable for you, just have your eyes down towards the floor and just let your eyes soften in the muscles of your face. And then just to really relax, and then start to take a nice deep breath or two. It's wonderful that we've convened together, so give yourself permission to really be here and to be present. And let the breath be a little bit deeper than your normal breath would be. So fill your lungs up, having gratitude for the ability to be able to fill your lungs up. And just really relax into this moment and take this time to see if you can feel a sense of gratitude for something in your life. And if you're having trouble, just think about the beauty of breathing, the beauty of experiencing the life force in these incredible bodies. Every morning when our eyes open, our feet hit the floor, and we start a new day, we can take a moment to be deeply grateful for being alive, having the day, experiencing all the mysteries of life, whether our mind, our rational mind, perceives them as good or bad or light or dark, but having all of them. So let's bring our hands in front of our heart. And most of you have done this mudra with me, but it's called the Padma mudra. And I use it in deep practices of gratitude. So you leave the bottom of the palm of your hand together, your baby finger and thumb stay together, and you just open the middle fingers. So you're making a lotus flower in front of your heart. And I like to think of this lotus flower as the vessel for which I can receive all of the beautiful benefits of the universe. Everything that's coming my way. So breathe into your flower, breathe into that lotus, and bring it close to your heart. And to start our practice tonight, we'll do one sweet Om together. So breathing out and in. Om. Allow your hands just to come back together into Anjali Mudra, symbol of reverence for life. And go ahead and release your hands down. And we'll come back into the room. You're going to see me looking over to the side here, because instead of my notes all over the floor, I have them pasted to the wall over here. So if you see me looking over here, that's what's going on. So let's just bring our your left fingertips right out to the side. Bring the right arm up and over. And we're just going to crescent, just listening to your body, being grateful for what it can do, pushing your right hip down into the floor. And then maybe just, as you breathe, just open and twist a little bit more. But keep the breath deep. And think about bringing a sense of your body and your mind together. Inhale, come on up, and we're going to switch sides. So right fingertips down, left fingertips up towards the sky. Track that left hip down, and then crescent over and breathe nice and deep. Nothing to do right now but be in the moment and be in your poses. Inhale, come on back up to neutral. We're going to bring both hands to the knees. Right hand to left knee. Left hand just slightly back behind you. Sit up nice and tall, and then start to twist to look over your left shoulder. Continue to breathe deep. Inhaling, exhaling. Pull the core in to keep that extension up to the spine as you come back to neutral, and then switch sides. So now your left hand's on your right knee. Your right hand is back behind you, and we get up nice and tall, bringing the sternum forward and then twisting open. And again, breathing deep. Beautiful. Come on back to neutral. And then a light forward bend. So keeping the hips down, just bring your fingertips out, again listening to your body. So we're just bringing the fingertips out. We're going to track the hips back and feel an opening in your lower back. So breathing deep, using your breath here, good. Beautiful. Inhale, come on back up. And I know it's going to seem like we're doing this early in the practice, but we're going to lay back on our backs for a second. So go ahead and lay back. So a lot of what we're going to do right now with these few poses are stuff that we do a lot of times when we are finishing our practice. So lay back and bring your right leg in, and then take your right leg up to the floor. So we're just going to set the hips here. So the right hip goes down towards the left foot. And what we're going to do that's a little bit different, so usually we're laying back like this, I want you to curl up. Bring the chin towards the chest, and then curling the body in. So we're going to work the core muscles as well. Keep breathing nice and deep here. Beautiful. Exhale, lowering the right leg, right leg down, left leg up. So we're going to really ground this right leg that's on the floor. Toes are straight up to the sky. Roll that inner thigh down. Your hands are back behind the thigh on the left side. And then flatten the foot. So as you bring the toes down on that left leg, you're going to feel a nice stretch in those hamstrings. We're reaching out with the heel, and the toes come down. And then we do that curl up and pull into the core and hold. But don't hold your breath. Breathing here. Good. Exhale. Bend the knee. Bring both feet down to the floor. Knees are bent.
So we're going to see how this goes depending on our body. We're going to go ahead and straighten out the left leg back down to the floor. Bring your right leg in. We might just bring our hands behind our thigh again, but we might try to grab our big toe or using a strap around our foot to bring the leg up. Now, if it's bent like this, no problem. Just push it to the point where you're really starting to open up in the back of the leg. It doesn't have to be completely straight. Remember, we're listening to our body and what we can do. So breathing deep. If this is too much, you can bring the hands back here, or you can even bring your hands to the calf and then just breathe in. Exhale, we're going to switch legs. So bring the left leg in, grab that big toe or your ankle, wherever it might work, and I'm grabbing it with the opposite hand and breathing. Good. Exhale, release both legs down. I'm going to suggest that you put your hands underneath your hips to support your lower back. If you have any lower back issues, you're going to make sure that you have your legs bent, but we're basically going to bring one leg up and then switching. So we're really pulling the core, the navel back towards the back of the body, towards the spine, and just alternating. So we're working some core here. Those of you who might want a little bit more can actually bring the body into a curl, but this might be too much. Make sure the lower back is staying down as you alternate. Exhale, release both feet to the floor, knees together, and take a break. Just take a breath or two. Good, so bring yourself up to a seated position. And we're going to just do some boat variations. So feet are flat here, okay? And we're going to grab behind. So for some of us, this is going to be enough. We're going to pull into the core, and this is going to be plenty. And we're early in the practice, so we want to really make sure we're taking care. We might be able to bring the feet up off the floor, okay? The more I pull myself in, the more this is a little bit easier, but really ignite your core as well. So pull that lower belly in. Maybe bring the feet up to make like a 90-degree angle. And then those of you who need a little bit more might bring your hands in prayer position or out. Breathing. It's great for the hands to be here. If you need your feet to be down a little bit and touch, that's fine. Pulling in, just giving nice variations. One more full breath. Exhale, release. We're gonna come on to all fours. So come on to all fours, getting ready to actually come into puppy pose. But before we do, just make sure your hands are right underneath your shoulders, and then bring your knees back a little bit. Actually, we're gonna keep the knees right underneath the hips. The hands come out, and we start to melt down. Again, maybe your head will come all the way to the floor, lifting the arms up away from the floor and around onto the back body, and breathing deep. Just, this is a nice place to remind yourself about that sense of gratitude, what you're grateful for, as we humbly just bow to life. Inhale, come up slightly, and we're going to take the left arm underneath the right arm and come in to thread the needle. So we're opening up the shoulders. You can really push the back of that hand down into the floor, lifting the right underarm up and just giving yourself a nice opening in the shoulders. And then inhaling, coming up, we'll switch sides. So now the right arm comes underneath the left, coming down, opening up that whole shoulder area with this, and breathing nice and deep. Inhale, come on back up, and we're going to come on to all fours. So really have your hands directly underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Take your right foot back, stretch out the back of the leg. Toes are curled under, and then push the heel away from you. Inhale, pull into the lower belly, keeping the right hip down though, and then bringing the left arm up, just playing with some balance. Again, keeping the breath, the connection with the body. Beautiful. Exhale, back down, and we're going to switch sides. So right arm out, left leg out, and the left toes come straight down. Exhale, release. We're going to go back to the other side. So right leg out, left arm out. We're going to bend the knee and send it up. And this might be enough for some of us. Others, we might be able to reach back. So opposite hand to opposite ankle. And then lifting the leg, getting a little stretch here. This isn't necessary because we're working on balance. So listening to your body and having that sense of gratitude, releasing back out through the pose, back down and switching sides. Right arm, left leg, bend the knee, maybe reach back, lift up, and then reconnect with the breath. Exhale, back through the pose, coming down. Just kind of move your hips a little bit organically, see how you're feeling here. Good, and then let's push back into downward facing dog. So make contact with the hands, all four corners of the hands. Let's bend our knees deep. Take your inner thighs kind of back behind you, which opens up the back of the pelvis. Tuck the tailbone slightly, and then start to straighten the knees and feel that opening in the hamstrings. Lift the kneecaps if possible. And then just feel your body open up, and it will open up even more as you breathe. So keep breathing in down dog. And then we're going to walk our feet up towards our hands. Ground all four corners of the feet down. On your next inhalation, pull your lower belly in to support the lower back. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing, and releasing the hands down in front of the heart. We're going to inhale the arms up. We're going to exhale, we're going to bend forward. Knees can be nice and bent. Hands can be on the floor or on your shins, and we're going to get that half lift. Make contact with the feet. Pull the arches up, make contact with all four corners. Then exhale, go a little bit deeper in your forward bend. One more time, inhale, half lift. Exhale, go a little bit deeper. Inhale the hands to the hips. Use your thumbs to push the thighs back, and then inhale, come up with a flat back, all the way up to standing, and bring your hands in front of your heart. Take a couple deep breaths there. Bring your hands in front of your heart, and we're going to go through a couple sun salutations. So take a nice inhalation. On your exhale, release your hands down. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, that half lift. So as much as you need, bring the hands wherever. On your exhalation, we're going to place the fingertips and take the right leg back into a high lunge, creating a 90-degree angle with that front leg. Reach out with the back heel and the front knee and breathe. And gratitude for wherever we are in the pose. Then on your exhalation, we're going to take the left leg back to meet the right. If you need to be down on your knees, that's fine, but we're in plank pose, and we're going to lower to the ground. Flatten your feet straight back out behind you. Hands are about chest, halfway back on the chest. Bring the shoulders in, roll the shoulders up and back, and then come up into a little baby back bend or cobra, wherever that might be. It might be here.
We want extension out through the heart, keeping the lower back safe. Exhale, release down, turn your toes under, and push back into downward facing dog. Just pedal out your heels, opening up the whole back part of your leg, breathing nice and deep. Then on your next inhalation, we're going to bring the right leg forward, getting a high lunge on the other side. And then on your next inhale, we're going to bring the left leg to meet the right. Hands placed on the shins or floor, knees. Inhale, that nice flat back. Exhale, releasing down to get a nice stretch in the whole back part of the body. Hands out to either side. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhaling, your hands in front of your heart. And take a pause for a moment. Let your eyes close or soften. And for a moment, bring back into your awareness what you may have had in your heart and what you were grateful for at the beginning of the practice. How special life is, how abundant it is. You know, all of the different things that you can think about for yourself that you are grateful. And let the rest of it just fade away for this practice. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, taking the arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift, shins or floor, and then on your exhalation, taking the right leg back into high lunge. We're going to bring both hands to the inside. So those of you who have blocks, you're welcome to use a block here. I'm going to use it just to show it. So we're going to track that left knee in, and we're going to just get nice and tall. And then we might stay like this. This might be intense. And we're going to bend the elbows and start to come down towards the block or the floor, wherever you're working. But just bending the elbows might be enough tonight. Breathing deep. Come up slightly. Both hands are still inside that left foot. We're going to take the right hand out pretty far, and we're going to bring the left hand to the knee so we can twist the body. This might be a lot. You can stay just like this. Some of us might lift the left arm up to the sky. So Anjaneyasana variation. Just breathe nice and deep here. Exhale. Bring both the hand down. Find your way back to both hands on either side of that front foot, and we're going to push back into downward facing dog. Might need a pause here. Take the hips back, really opening up that posterior chain, the whole back part of the body. Inhale, come forward into plank pose, and then slow lowering down to the floor or chaturanga. Feet are flat and back behind you. Inhale, rolling up to cobra. Exhaling back down to downward facing dog, pushing back up. Take a nice deep breath here. And on your next inhalation, we're going to take the right leg forward into high lunge. We may use that block. First part, we're going to bring both hands onto the inside of that right leg, and then bend the elbows, coming down towards our elbows. If this is way too much for you, you can and one side might be different than the other, you can always come down into low lunge to take a little bit of the pressure off, and then start to think about coming down towards those elbows. And again, when you find the pose, reconnect with your breath. High or low lunge. Now we're going to take the left hand out pretty wide. Right hand comes to the knee to help us to set the top of the body. We twist open. We might stop here, or we can bring our right arm up. And I'm going to try to touch the nose on my little Egyptian nun here. Breathing deep.
Exhale the top arm down. Both hands are now on either side of your right leg, and then inhale, bring the left leg forward. Inhale, half lift. Ardha Uttanasana, exhale, full lower down. Inhale, arms come all the way up, overhead, down in front of the heart, and take a couple deep breaths. I'm going to go through the next sun salutation with just a little less instruction. So listen to your body and what it might need. So inhaling, exhaling, release the arms. Inhale up, exhale fold. Inhale, we're going to do that half lift. And on our exhalation, we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to do a couple of those lifts here. One more time. Inhale. Notice the change that you're getting in your body. Inhale. And this exhalation, placing the hands, take the right leg back into high lunge. We're going to focus on the lunge here. So really reach out with the back heel and the front knee. Extend out through the crown of the head. See if you can make space between your vertebrae. Breathing. On your next exhale, we're going to take the left leg back and we're going to come into downward facing dog. Lifting your right hand up, see if you can reach back towards your left leg. It might be up on your thigh. It might be at your knee. Some of us might be at the ankle. And then we're going to do a slight little twist where you would think that you're going to take your head underneath your left arm. Breathing deep, we're balancing, gaining some upper body strength with this. On your exhale, bring the right arm back. Beautiful. Then switching sides, so left hand comes over towards the right leg, wherever it's going to grab. It can be up high or low, and then twisting open to bring the head underneath the right arm. And then bringing the hand back. On your next inhalation, we're going to bring the right leg forward into high lunge. Really feeling the lunge now. Back heel extends, front knee extends, the crown of the head. We're like one big arrow from the back to the front. On the next inhale, pull your lower belly in and up and bring your left foot back to meet the right. Inhale, half lift. Exhale. Go a little deeper on your forward bend. Really feel those four corners of the feet. Inhale. Take your arms up. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale. Releasing the hands down in front of the heart. And just pause for a moment. Exhale. Release. Beautiful. So I'm just going to check on you all. How's everybody doing there? Good. All right. So we're going to go through a Surya Namaskar B. So, which means we're going to go through chair pose, Utkatasana, all right? So, let's come to the top of the mat. Feet are about hip distance apart. So then we start to scoot them in just a little bit where the big toes might come pretty close to touching, but not necessarily the rest of the foot. Inhale. The arms up. Let's make an arrow. So let's bring the hands together if this is comfortable for your shoulders. On your exhale, we're going to bring the body down. We're thinking about getting those thighs parallel to the floor. May or may not happen, but that's... Now, lift the sternum up. Pull your lower belly in and up. Arms come towards each other. Shoulders are on the back. Breathing. On your next inhale, we're going to pop up. Exhale, we fold forward. Inhale, half lift up. On the exhale, we're going to take the right leg back into high lunge and then turn the back foot flat with the back of the mat and bring your left elbow to your left knee. Right arm goes back behind you, palm up, and then inhaling, bringing that arm up and over your right ear and breathing nice and deep. Exhale, releasing the hand down to the floor, turning the foot back, coming back into, let's go through downward dog. And now I'm going to ask you to come forward, lift your hips slightly, and like form a sling. So pull the muscles towards one another, then release your hips down just a little bit more, reaching out. We're going to hold this for a breath or two. So feeling that pulling in through the core and then back out again to the head and the feet. Beautiful. Inhale, push back, downward facing dog. Nice. On your next inhalation, let's bring the right leg forward into our high lunge pose. Turning your back foot flat, bring your right elbow to your right knee and coming into Parsvakonasana, so side angle stretch. Arm up over the ear, hips are squared. Nice deep breath. Exhale, bringing the arm down. Hands to either side of that front foot. Left foot meets the right. Big toes towards one another. The knees bend. Hands come into arrow. Coming up and hold for a breath. Inhale, popping up. Exhale, release, hands to heart. Beautiful. Well, we've been a bit chilled in this house all day today, but I can tell you that that has changed for me in this part of the practice. I hope you guys are all feeling good and warmed up. So let's do some standing poses. And I'm calling this the gratitude hold. So we're going to do 2 full breaths in each standing pose. So just bring your hands in front of your heart. Lifting your left leg up, we're going to step back into the unknown. And again, turning the back foot flat and coming into side stretch, which we just did. So left elbows on the left knee, right arm back, and then up and over the ear. Square off the hips, find your pose, and then really be with it. Feel your breath, the gratitude for your breath, and feel your breath move through your entire body, from your baby toe to the tips of your fingers. On your inhalation, we're going to come up through Warrior Two. We might find that pose, and we might say I can go a little bit deeper in that front leg, and then find it, and then find the gratitude hold. Breathing deep into the heart. Each deep breath, maybe feel that you're opening that love center, creating more space. Now we're going to bring both hands towards the front knee so we can turn that back foot up onto the ball and find our variation of Warrior One. Shoulders, hands out to bring the shoulders back. Inhale, coming up, finding Warrior One position. And then the gratitude hold, the gratitude breath. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips and turn that back foot flat and down again. We're going to come into a triangle or triangle variation. Use blocks, use your shin. Find what's comfortable for you tonight, because we're going to hold it for a couple breaths, square off the hips, and bringing the right arm up. So whatever triangle is for you right now, keeping that right shoulder back. On the exhalation, we're going to bring the top arm down. So right arm down, step or jump switch, whichever your body is in the mood for today. Coming into lunge, turn the back foot flat, right elbow, right knee, left arm up over the ear. No place to be in the mind, but just right in this pose for a couple nice full breaths. Pushing down into the floor, we're going to come up into that Warrior Two. Roll the shoulders down the back. Find a gentle gaze over those front fingers. A gentle gaze that matches your gentle heart. And hands to the front knee so we can come up on the ball of the back foot. Finding warrior one. So we'll reach, pull back with the shoulders, inhale up, coming down. We're going to bring our hands down in front of our heart as we turn that back foot flat and start to come into our triangle variation. Again, finding what works for you. Listening not to the mind, but to the body and heart at this time. Exhaling the top arm to your left arm down to your hip. We're going to turn towards the front and then just bounce up to the top of our mat, hands in front of our heart. Let our eyes close and coming into a standing relaxation pose for a moment. And maybe opening the fingers back into Pada Mudra, the hands in front of the heart, open to receiving. That receiving might be much more than anything material. It might be inspiration or that sense of connection that we all long for. And we are always connected. We just have to open up to it. Beautiful. Exhale, go ahead and release your hands. I'm going to ask you just to step out to a wide leg position. So we always say that wrist with the ankles is a good measure, but listen to your body here. Feet are straight forward. We're going to roll the thighs back so we can tuck in. Inhale, bring the arms out to the side. Inhale, let's bring them up overhead and find our mudra, Padma, lotus. And then really look up towards the sky with it. On your exhale, interlace your fingers, and then we're just going to come down through a flat back and come all the way down to the floor with the hands. Fingertips, welcome to use blocks, or since you're at home, furniture, whatever you have. Fingertips down, inhale. Reach up with the crown of the head, and on your exhalation, go a little bit deeper, elbows straight back behind you, supporting the pose with the concentration on pulling the lower belly in. The gravity helps us to open up the back. We just allow the weight of the head and the upper body to do its thing. Inhale up slightly. Bring your left hand in, your right hand on your hip, and then twisting open. You're welcome to bring that right hand up to the sky if your shoulders feel good for that. On the exhale, coming back down and then coming back up, switching sides. So the right arm is now foundation and the left arm would be up to the sky or onto the hip. And breathing nice and deep. Beautiful. Exhale, release. We're going to bring both hands over towards the left foot. So we're turning the body, and we're going to open up the intercostals, the side bodies, by coming over as far as we can towards that left foot. And then switching sides, making sure you're really pulling into the core to keep the lower belly protected. It's going to be a fragile place for it. Both hands over towards our right foot, breathing deep. Back towards center, bringing your hands to your hips. Inhale, come all the way back up to standing. Take a second, blood pressure, even all these things out for ourselves. Good, then start to just wiggle your feet in. And we're gonna come up to the top of our mat. Yes. So we're gonna open up the backs of the legs and the hamstrings some. So I'd like to say, what we can do is you can use blocks. If you don't have any kind of block, that's okay. I'm gonna also show, this just happens to be in this room with me, that we could use a chair, okay? Or a couch or a love seat. So we're gonna do Parsvottanasana, which you guys all know. We're gonna bring the left foot forward and the right foot back, but not as wide as we would for a regular stance. We're gonna bring them in a little bit closer together. We're gonna even off the hips, so now we're gonna be facing the front. The reason the piece of furniture or the block might be helpful is we want to keep this left hip tracking back, lifting the kneecap on the left leg. And we can stop right here, we can keep going. The nice thing about the chair is I can actually push into it or the block to really keep my hips square. Keep tracking the left hip back, really connecting with the arches and the feet, all four corners of the feet. And just, you can even reach up with your left thumb and push that left thigh back a bit and just feel that opening in the belly of the hamstring rather than just in the insertion points. Breathing deep. Inhale, come up, and we're gonna just switch sides. So bringing your right leg forward and the left hip back, square off the hips, and then coming down. Keep tracking the right hip this time, lifting the right kneecap, and finding that place for yourself where you can kind of come over that front leg. We're opening the belly of that hamstring, breathing deep. Inhale, come up. And then bring your back leg forward. And we're gonna switch to a different pose, but we're gonna come back to that one. So let's start. I'm gonna actually have us start on the right foot so I can kind of show you what I'm doing better, left foot. So we're gonna come into a reverse side stretch. But we're gonna use the same principles we just did with Parsvottanasana, square the hips off, really keep tracking this right hip back, and then it might just be here with the hands tonight to twist. Those of us who are gonna go a little bit deeper are gonna hook the left elbow on the outside of that right leg, maybe even in prayer position. But we're gonna keep tracking that right hip back and get really long out through the spine. Be nice to be able to straighten the back leg, but it all depends on your hamstrings and your lower back if it needs to be bent. Beautiful, breathe. Nice, exhale, both hands down. Just take your right leg back into a downward dog. Take a couple breaths here. And then on your next inhalation, let's bring the left leg forward. Find that lunge, square off the hips before we even start the pose. Really square them off, pull into the lower belly, then start to bring that right elbow out, or the right hand, the hands on the outside of the right leg, and then start to twist open. Actually, you're doing your left leg with your right elbow. Feel the extension from the back heel all the way up and out the crown of the head. Beautiful, one more full breath. On the exhale, bring the hands down. And we are going to actually bring our left foot to meet the right and come down into a child's pose. I feel like Steve tonight, I haven't given you one. Big toes together, knees out, and then let's come down and find that breath. Breathing nice and deep in this resting pose. Child's pose is meant to help us relax the body through our practice, but it's also a great moment for us to pause. And in a practice where we're being grateful, it's like whatever is underneath you represents this incredible planet. And that, having gratitude for this big blue ball that spins through the ethers, and we stay on it and we have these incredible experiences, sinking down, feeling that love. Beautiful. Inhale, come on back up. Let me ask you just to come to standing. So this is a little bit intense, okay? This is kind of like the intensity of the practice tonight, but we've really worked it. So we're gonna just play with reverse triangle, okay? If you have a block, I'm gonna use one to show how we can do this. So let's all bring our right leg forward. Now we're taking a regular stance. So not the short stance of Parsvottanasana. Now, here's some variations we can do. Just twisting and bringing the legs. Now, we really want to keep these hips square, or that's going to throw off our balance. And we might start to just slide down that right leg. This might be good. We're really tracking that right hip down. If we're going a little further, we might find a block. And we might bring our right hand to our right hip and start to twist. Left hand is really pushing into that block. If you're going for more of the pose, you keep tracking the hip back, bringing the right arm up. The left hand can go to the floor or to the foot and really opening up. Breathing. One more breath. Exhale, hand down. And let's just push back into a downward dog. Take a couple breaths there. And then let's bring the left leg forward. And again, really paying attention to square off the hips. If you're using a block, it's not necessary, but height, or you can even use the chair. Start to twist now so that your right hand is coming to the block or the outside of your foot. Left hand is on your hip, and we start to twist open. Breathing nice and deep. Exhale, release. And let's come back down to the floor. After that, and find a child's pose. Let the body reset. Allow the mind to unwind again. And just breathing. Nice, come on back up. So coming onto all fours. Let's bring the right leg forward, and we're gonna come into a high lunge. So we started off the practice with some of this, where we brought both hands into the inside. So you're gonna bring both hands to the inside of your right leg. So we're gonna bring our hands up behind us, interlace our fingers, and then lay our torso onto that right thigh, okay? If your hands need to be down for balance, that's fine. But if you can, interlace them, try to really find that balance by pulling everything into the midline of your body, extend out with the crown of the head, the back heel, and maybe start to lift your hands up off of your back body. And really extend out. Feel the shoulder blades descend down towards the hips. Breathing deep. Exhale, release the hands down and come down to all fours. Bring the left leg, come up into down dog, and then bring your left leg forward. Hands are going to come back behind you, interlaced. Roll the shoulders up and back, squeeze the shoulders together. Then bring the body over on top of that left thigh. Reach out through the crown of the head and find your breath. Pulling into the midline. Trying to let go of any thoughts. Exhale, release down, and coming onto all fours. Beautiful. Nice, let's come up to standing. And let's balance just on one foot. So coming onto our left leg, just coming into our tree pose, so it can be a kickstand, it can be on the calf, or it can be all the way up into the thigh. Just finding that spot. For some of us, we beat ourselves up in tree pose. So see if we can not do that and have a sense of gratitude for even if we're moving around, okay? In this balancing pose, really making contact with all four corners of the feet. You can see your patterns, either inside, outside, front, or back. Pull the arches up, pull the belly up, and we're going to try to bring our hands up overhead into Pada Mudra. So I've got them open and coming up overhead. Beautiful. Just opening the arms up so that they're parallel, palms down, and then bringing them down behind you, interlacing them again. Bring the shoulders back and maybe the hands up off the back body. Exhale. Release, and start to come out of the pose. Really nice. So we'll switch sides. So coming onto our right foot, finding the foot placement. As we find that stability through that grounded foot, really growing roots down through our own arch into the planet, opening our flower and then taking it up overhead. And I ask you to just bring your left hand down this time. Parallel, right arm still up. And then we're just going to switch the position. So the left arm is going to come up, the right arm is going to go down. So we're making an L. Both hands parallel again. And then bringing all of that gratitude right into your heart center. Exhale, release, and coming on out of tree pose. Beautiful. So we started with extended hand to toe pose. So what I'm going to ask is if you have a strap, great. If you don't and reaching your toe is not going to work, just bring your foot up. Let's all start this way. So stork pose, as I'm now calling it with some of my clients, and then bringing it out. This in itself is pretty intense. Those of you who want to go a little bit further would bring the finger to the toe or bring a strap or a belt. Even if your leg is bent, bring the stork pose out to the side with your hands underneath your thigh.
back to center, and then down. Nice. So the other side. Again, we can start just right here and leave it at this with the knee. Or maybe we have a strap, or maybe we're going to try the big toe. And breathing. And then back in towards center and release down. Nice, nice, nice. Good. So we're gonna come down, making sure I've done everything. I'm actually, you know how I am, folks. I've always got way too much to get through in the amount of time that we have. So let's come on down to the floor, and I'm gonna ask you to either come into full pigeon or reclined. So just to remind you, I'm gonna do reclined first. If your hips are really tight, this might be easier, so you would bring your right ankle bone over to the left, and then just pulling in your right leg towards your body and pushing the left leg away from you. For a lot of us, that's plenty. If we're gonna go into full pigeon, and we're gonna hold these for a couple breaths, you would come in with the bent leg. So in this case, I have my right leg bent, my left leg straight back, toes really plant down into the back, get nice and tall, and then finding what place works. Again, this is also a nice place to use a block. So find one side and one way of doing it. And then wherever you are in the pose, just take some breaths of surrender, where you take them in nice and deep, and you just let it out with a sigh. Then turn your toes under. If you're going to go into the other side of pigeon, just come through a down dog and switch sides. Those of you who are going to do it reclined, just switching legs. So this left knee is slightly out from the hip, and I'm really pushing down into the floor. Inhale up, and then over that front leg. Really nice letting go breaths. We open ourselves up to so much more gratitude when we can relax. When we get out of the mind, can, in some respect or another, and just feel the warmth and the spaciousness of living inside our own being. Not just the mind, but our whole being. And then inhale. Let's come up. And let's just go seated. So let's bring we're going to cradle. So here's some variations. Really tight hips, we might be like this, which is great. Body's still working and we're moving it. If we're a little bit more open, we might bring this right under leg in, and then we might start to bring the left top leg in, okay? Wherever it's working, hips and leg. Some of us are gonna be flexible enough, and it's not necessary, so listen to your body, where you can cradle the leg and bring it in towards the body, really using the core muscles to pull in, getting nice and tall. So we don't want to round so much through the back. We want to try to come forward with the sternum and the chest
We're breathing deep. On your exhale, just start to release, and we're going to switch sides. So we're going to cradle that right arm to wherever we can, the left leg, right, yes, the right leg, the left leg is underneath for support, and we have the right leg in our arms. And exhaling, we'll bring the legs out in front, finding Dandasana or staff pose. So feet come back towards us with intention. We place the hands, we sit up nice and tall here, grounding the inner thighs down, reaching up with the sternum and the heart. We just get nice and tall in our staff pose. Bend your left knee and bring it in, and then just pull yourself forward. And we're going to start to twist, so we're going to bring our right arm around the left fingertips will support us, and we'll twist open. And breathing deep. Exhaling back through Dandasana. Staff pose, and then bringing the right leg in, wrapping the arm. Now the right fingertips support us as we push forward and we twist. Really nice. Go ahead and release that. And we're going to come back down to our backs. And we're pretty open. So we're going to do a bridge pose here. So feet are about hip distance apart or slightly more, depending if that gives you more height. Elbows down into the floor, roll your shoulder blades down and back, lift the hips up, reach out through the knees, pushing the shoulders and the head down into the floor to help us lift up. We might bring our hands down underneath laced, bringing the shoulder blades towards one another and just really lifting up and feeling the beauty of opening the whole front side of the body. We're going to hold it for a breath or two, so there's all kinds of variations. If you want to lift one leg and then the other, just holding them for a breath or so. And exhale, release. Widen your feet to be as wide as your mat, and then let your knees, so the feet stay right where they are on the edge of the mat, and then just taking the knees over to your left side. Maybe bring that left foot up onto the right knee. Really extending out, straight down and out through that right knee, allowing yourself to open up the hips and the hip flexors. And then we're going to switch sides. So windshield wiper over to the other side. Maybe that foot to knee would feel good. And then come back to neutral. And we're going to bring the right leg in, and the left leg is going to go flat. So here we are where we began earlier. So a little different from our normal ending for class. Let's curl up. So left toes are straight up, the right toes are coming down towards us. We're not holding the breath, but we're holding the curl, so we're pulling into the core. Now, if possible, keep the curl and bring your left leg up to meet it, lowering the right leg down to the floor. We've continued to hold the curl. Bring the right leg back up. Hands behind both legs, really curl in. On the exhale, you're going to leave the legs where they are. Bring the torso down, and if you need to, bring your hands under your hips to support your lower back. Pull your lower belly in, and for whatever, a slow lower, but keep that lower back longing to be towards the mat, to really protect it, pulling in. And then taking a nice slow time to bring it down, maybe hover. And then finding your way with the legs down, the arms out, and take that big inhale and exhale, moving into your Shavasana pose. Feel yourself relax. Feel your whole back body as you lay in Shavasana. Give over to the earth. The fruits of the yoga practice are right now, when we have moved, when we have worked on our mat to let go of the mind. We have great gratitude for our mind and ego. They help us in so many ways. But through yoga, we bring a balance, a beautiful harmony to our being. And it's in that place of balance and harmony that we can go deep in our practice of gratitude. There are times in our life where we're just grateful for the smallest thing that we might see. The shape of the moon, a certain color green, a taste from some exquisite food. And we can slow the mind to really appreciate what we're experiencing in the moment. And that is what we're trying to do for our entire life. Each time we come to the mat, fine-tuning a way to be completely mindful one moment from the next. deep breath in. Move your fingers and your toes, and as you're ready, just move to one side or the other, and then bringing yourself up to a seated position on your mat. Hands in front of your heart. And let's, as we close, just open our hands into our Padma Mudra. Not that we're asking for anything, but we open ourselves to the possibility of receiving whatever comes. And we're grateful. We give thanks. And back to Anjali Mudra, let's end our practice tonight with one sweet Om together. So breathing out and in. Om. To the mutual divinity we all share. Namaste.